Well, this is Keith Myers again. This is going to be lesson 11, where we're going to cover some of the basic boxing defenses and kind of show you how they overlap with some of the Wing Chun stuff you might already be doing. First, we've already covered this in some of the previous lessons, but boxing does what they call a cuff, and a cuff is just a box out. So if Adrian is punching at me, a boxer's cuff is just patting something away. Box out, that's a cuff, right? The important thing about a cuff, just like a box out, is that I don't want to reach out, because the minute I reach out, he's going to time me and just go around and smack me. So it's got to be nice and tight within this distance, right? Cuff, box out, whatever you want to call it, same thing. Boxers also do what they call a scoop. And a scoop is just a Chun or a Fuk from Wing Chun. So if we're faced off and he's punching at me, my scoop is I'm almost doing the cuff, and then I scoop it out. And the advantage of this is, you can see, it throws that hand out to create this opening. So that's a scoop. It could be against the other hand too. Scoop puts me right in the position to punch. Just a quick flick, circular flick, just like a Chun. So I don't want to do this, a dick motion, because then I've opened myself up, right? It's got to be nice and tight. It's just a flick, so my hands stay on center. That's a scoop. Very basic. Now boxers also do an inward deflection with the lead hand, and this is essentially the same as, whether you want to call it an inward tan sao in Wing Chun, whether you want to call it part of a gan sao, a high gan sao, whether you want to call it a jum sao, that idea of swinging inward to cover the line is the same thing as this inward deflection. And when I do it, I'm lined up and I'm just covering my center line. So if something's coming at me along the center, all I do is cover the center line. So I literally put my hand and my fist on my center line as a shield in front of me. I don't need to go across, because the minute I cross my center line, I've opened all this up to another punch. So it's literally just this motion, just enough to cover the center and deflect something. And I'm usually going to do it either with a pivot on my lead foot, because when I pivot on my lead foot, it cocks this hand to punch right over the top. So it's going to be a deflection, punch, deflection, punch, deflection, punch. Typically would do it with a lateral step, so we're zoning to the outside or going to the blind side. So I do it with that little step, punch. Right? I'm here, little step, punch. Side step, punch. Side step, punch. Side step, punch. So if Adrian is throwing at me, again, if I'm just pivoting, I'm here, as this punch is coming off the center, I just deflect it and punch back over the top. Right? Boom, punch. Boom, punch. Punch.
Oops.
Boom. Punch. And that's my alignment, right? I don't want to do this. Boom. Because then he's got the potential to nail me with his rear hand. So all I'm doing is covering the center line. Boom. And then punching right over the top. Bam. With a step, works even better, because now as he's punching, I step out here. Now I've got this angle. And I can work him all day long. Right? From here, I just step and then I fire off. Now, I can do it in a mismatched stance to his rear hand. All I have to do is deal with the lead hand first. So let's say he's throwing his jab, I do a pak sao, and then the rear hand's coming. I don't want to cross myself, but it's at this point we can use some of our footwork, which we'll cover on the footwork video. But this is just a simple switch step, right? So I can deal with his lead hand, and the rear hand comes, and I step, and then I fire. So all I'm doing is a switch step like this as I cover. Right? I'm here, I cover, and I fire. I'm here, I cover, and I fire. So we can be dealing with something, bang, boom, boom, boom. That's with my switch step. Now I can do it this way too, and it becomes much more like a jum sao. So if he's got kind of an extended guard, right, I can be on this side, and let's say he's not reacting much, so I want to crash in, I want to do this technique, I can just step out, boom, there I've crashed into his guard, and I've made this opening. Again, I'm here, I step in, and I fire. And it's that same motion. Now it's got a little more of a downward quality to it, just like a drum sao or sinking hand would be. Boom, bam. I can do it with the switch step still. I can be here, And this one, I either see his rear hand coming as I step, or I actually try to get him to punch me, right? I do something like this, so I know he's going to punch, and then I'm prepared to cover. I'm just doing it to close. Boom, bam, bam. I'm going to just cover in the center with this inward motion and inward deflection. We use that a lot. Another important one is the low cover. And a low cover is defending the ribs, the flank. So if your guard is up, you bring that arm straight down and you cover. And you want to contact elbow. It's almost like you're trying to touch the top of your hip. And you want that squeezed into your side, and you make a fist so this muscle is nice and bulky and tight so it can absorb. Now, Adrian is a big guy, and I could stand here and if he's throwing a punch at me, I could probably just take it and then fire off. But that's not the best thing to do because he might knock me on the ass, right? So when we do this, there's this quality of absorbing and going with the force, kind of riding the punch. So, like I was saying before, it's like sucking it in. So I'm pushing my elbow against my side and I'm moving across at the same time. I'm literally sucking in their punch. So jamming this elbow in and I'm letting it push me across. And notice I'm turning my lead leg and I'm actually moving laterally. I don't want to pivot my upper body because if I did, then I've exposed this part and his punch might just whip around and catch me in the ribs, or if it's a kick, I might catch the toe in the ribs. So the body, the torso stays lined up, I move straight across and I pivot with the leg. Boom, boom. Same thing with the rear hand. Boom, boom. See, my lower body's moving across and I'm pivoting on the rear leg and I'm staying with that alignment. Right? This is important for kick defense as well because I see something coming. If it's a kick especially, of course he's not going to punch me in the leg, but if it's a kick, the kick could be at the ribs or it could be at the leg and I might not know which one it is, and so I'm going to cover the same way. I'm going to turn, so now if it's coming at my ribs, I'm covering my ribs, and if it's coming at my leg, then I've given away with my leg and I haven't stood there and bam, taken a solid shot. I just absorb things and I come back over the top. So the way we drill this one is if he's got the gloves on. So if he just fed me that low punch, boom, see I've pivoted this way so this hand is cocked and ready. So when I absorb this, boom, I'm coming back, bam, bam, right? Boom, bam, bam, boom, bam, 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 bam. And I want to ride that, right? Throw it hard. See, I'm still balanced. Boom, I'm still balanced. Pow! That's the whole idea. I'm not standing there trying to take it. I'm sucking it in and I'm absorbing. Boom. Same way if it was the rear hand. Bam. And now this hand is cocked, right? Boom, so I'm firing off. Boom. Boom. And again, if he's throwing it hard, I'm absorbing. Angle a little bit so they can see better. See, I'm letting him move me, but it's not hurting me. So I can take a heavy blow because I'm not just standing there trying to tough it and take the entire punch. All right, so low cover. Now, the next lesson we're going to cover, because it's also part of the basics, we're going to break it out into a separate lesson just because there's a lot to talk about with how we do the high cover, but also in these basics, boxing basics, you can do a low cover, you can do a high cover with either hand. And we're also going to talk about later on a front cover. Boxing does this a lot. Sometimes they call it a Philly shell. It's part of light burly 52 blocks. It's George Foreman's specialty. Without the gloves on kind of protecting you though, it's still kind of vulnerable. But we kind of modify it and we do a front cover like this, which we'll also talk about in a different lesson. So that's enough for this lesson.